Peace, peace, peace. Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, the place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born a Lot, and I got the honor and the privilege to bring forth to my family, my sister cousin, my cousin sister is on live. We excited. Sister, cousin, sister, all the way from the projects of Kuwait. You understand? On the projects of Kuwait. We're gonna be talking about traveling. We're gonna be talking about family. So it's very apropos to bring forth this warrior queen. I got a lot of love and respect for, and to hear her message of empowerment, her message of family, her message of love, and all that good stuff. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some and present to others my sister cousin, Porsha
What's
Wade
up?
is in the building. What's going on,
Thank you
sister?
for the introduction. I appreciate you.
It's all love. It is all love. It's Black History Month. You understand? So I'm feeling extra black and extra history and extra month. You understand what I'm saying to you? And this is a family environment. This is a family show. So I'm glad to have my fam on with me in more ways than one. So we just
Yes.
gonna start with a little introduction. You know, introduce yourself, cause you my sister cousin, but they might be like, who is this lady up here? You see,
Right.
and
Who
he
is
said
this?
Kuwait. They got black
Oh,
people in Kuwait.
oh, yeah. The
So
originalists.
listen.
um, Thank you, thank you. So I am a little bit nervous, so we're gonna get past this. But my name is Porsha Wade. I've been in Kuwait since 2012. I've been away from the United States since 2006. I have three beautiful children that live with me here in Kuwait. My husband's here. I actually met my husband here in Kuwait, so that's been a
Dang,
blessing.
dang.
Um, um, I actually started a American Community Service for Children here. We call it 24/7 Child Care and Learning Center. And I also have a salon, which is a local business here in Kuwait in the city of Abu Khalifa. And I am also an American contractor on Camp Arif John. So my days are quite busy to say the least. But I'm very happy to be here. I'm glad that I was able to spend some time with you today, and I'm ready.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You see, my sister cousin left America after Bush got in office. You understand? That's how bad.
Yeah, and I
Bush
don't intend
was.
to come back until Trump is gone.
That's what I'm talking about. You just go on vacate. You understand what I'm saying? So for the people who don't know, they might guess like, how did you end up where you are so many years ago?
Well, in 2006, well, I'll take it back a little bit further than that. I was in U.S. Army, of course, and that was from 2001 to 2006. And I was doing a lot of deployment back and forth. I was in Fort Bragg, so as soon as we would gear up to come back to the states, we were gearing up to go back overseas. And at that time, pretty much you join the army and you have a MOS that you're assigned to. But once you get to where you're going, you end up doing all types of things that you really didn't sign up to do. But you still get the same amount of money. So I'm seeing these KBR cats at that time doing the same job, but a lot less than me and making a lot more money than me. So of course, when you contracting or when you're a soldier and you see these contractors, some people choose to hate a little bit, you know. But me on the other hand, instead of hating, I decided to be resourceful and make connections and keep up with
Mm,
people. So when I ended up going back to the states and getting ready to ETS out the military, 2 weeks later I was back in Iraq as one of them KBR employees.
mm,
So I pretty much, of course, doubled my salary. I Started off there making 89,000, and I was an E5 in the military, so that's the most money I had made in life.
Right.
So in life, so that was a big accomplishment for me. And I had already, of course, been overseas with the military, so I was already familiar with, the haps or whatnot. So I just actually started off just enjoying money and enjoying being away. To be honest, growing up, I never even thought of being in Kuwait or being in Iraq or anywhere over here. I don't even think I remembered knowing where it existed geographically, to be honest with you. So,
One of them
so to
places in the
be
Bible, one of them places in the
right,
Bible, I think.
exactly, knew nothing about it. So coming over here with the military, of course, it it was a little bit easier because of the camaraderie of my peers or whatnot. So we're all in it together. You know, so that made it a little bit different as you know how I'm over here now, pretty much by myself. I have my family, which makes it a lot easier, but I don't have the
Mm,
same level of support as like a unit or whatnot. So with contracting, you're you have your company, but you're pretty much solo out here, and you can move and go and do and become start businesses as you need to here.
mm. So, what are some of those lessons? Because I heard some great stories, and I heard some other stories in regards to contracting that you could share with us.
Well, I've been contracting kind of long, a while now. My initial goal was 5 years, right? Most people
Mm,
come, they say, I'm gonna do a year, I'm gonna make my money and go. 5 years off the rip, I want to do. But to be honest with you, going from, I know you're not really looking maybe for this, but going from not really having much as far as money goes to
mhm,
having an abundance of and not really knowing how to save and how to be disciplined with money. It was the same as living paycheck to paycheck, even, you know, because you have
mm,
all this money coming in, but you don't know what to do with it. So the first few years, though I just
right.
got out of the military, I'm going back to the States. I'm getting hotel rooms that are $500 a night. I'm doing
Mm,
helicopter rides.
right.
I'm buying cars. I'm doing all types of crazy madness. Oh, it's Christmas time. What bill you want me to pay off? I'm balling out of control. End of the year come, I ain't got no money. So that's one of the biggest things, finding finding the means to be disciplined and pretty much educated in terms of financial literacy. Another thing with contracting is it's contracting is so uncertain, to say the least, right? So it's difficult if you're not in a good space when it comes to being financially um, ready, because at any given time the contract can be up. They can let you go. This is an at will type of situation, so you can quit
Right.
them at any time, they can quit you at any time. So the longevity is really not into it. And you hear a lot of people saying you got to know somebody to get in or blah blah blah. And I really, to an extent, I do believe you need to be resourceful and put yourself out there. But if you have the background that's needed for the job, or the knowledge, there's no denying that. Yeah, so I'm going on and on and on. I told you I'd do that.
But hey, that's it. I mean, because we do need to be educated. People are gonna be listening. People are gonna be watching from all over the planet, and some of these ideas we had some of the same ideas in in the military. You see what I'm saying? Like many of us didn't have people to sit down with us to discuss finances and things like that. Like,
Right.
and some leadership might have been in a worse financial situation than us. You see what I'm saying? We just would never know. You know, I heard some of those stories, and they're pretty consistent throughout. But I've seen some success models as well. You see what I'm saying over time.
Right.
So that's one that take away. So what has it been like for you in regards to your family and traveling and living abroad, things like that? What has been some of their experiences, some of your experiences? How important has travel and how has travel kind of impacted your perspective, worldview, outlook, and such?
I'm gonna tell y'all a unique little story about the start of my family, right? So I actually got pregnant with my first daughter in Afghanistan. So in Afghanistan, of course, there's general orders for most of y'all that are in the military. So I was doing the wrong thing to say the least, but it happened as a contractor. Um, and at this point in life, like I initially stated, I was working with KBR. In contracting, we do sometimes what's called jumping ship. And that means going from contract to contract in order to better yourself. So at this point with this company, I had started off as pretty much a person that's counting plates and cleaning the plates and issuing the equipment to the person who is now in charge of the whole operation in Bagram. So though I had made it to this point, in my career, I still was making some choices on the side that weren't so, they weren't in line with the progression that, the company had for me and what I had for myself. Needless to say, during this time, I needed to the multicam uniform was coming out and it had just dropped, and it was my job to make sure everybody in Afghanistan had this uniform. And I had become pregnant, right, in the middle of my mission. So I had a small team out there. Do you bring somebody else in that would be brand new to it, at the start of something very important, of course, to the military, or do you work through it? So a lot of people don't know, but I stayed there hiding it for almost 5 months to make mission. Um, I don't know if other people have done that. It's pretty much unheard of, and a lot of people look at me weird for that. But at this point, also, I had went from the start of my career from making 89,000 a year. At this point, I was making 218,000. So it was a hard transition to make. Like you there, you didn't made it. To me, I did. 218,000. I didn't fathom that. And here you are getting pregnant overseas. And of course, my upper leadership, they ended up knowing about it or whatnot, but they kind of were alluding for me to relinquish the pregnancy or whatnot, but totally against my beliefs, so I didn't do that. So I ended up going home after completing my obligation with them. I went to Virginia. They gave me a big check, and everybody pretended as if I wasn't pregnant for the moment. And we just rolled with it. But that was the start of my the building of my family. We'll fast forward it a little bit to when I came first to Kuwait. I still worked for my company that I was working for in Afghanistan. They gave me a job with lesser responsibility, and I just had to travel 100% travel with my daughter all over the world, all over the United States, and sometimes I had to go to Germany or whatnot. But it required me having a mobile nanny, somebody that would travel with me. And with the 1 year old, and below, that was kind of hard on me. So I ended up securing a job in Kuwait and brought my daughter here, got settled in. My sister here, she helped me. And I started that in 2012. And since 2012, I've been here ever since. I met my husband, like I said, here. We've had two additional children. Um, I have two girls and one boy, age 8, 5, and 3. So my kids are relatively young still. Um, my youngest is the only one that was born in Kuwait, and the other two were born in Texas. What else can I tell you about the family here? The hardest and the oddest experience for me was actually having my son here, because here a woman, you don't even have the opportunity. I couldn't even pick up my son's birth certificate because only the man can do that. Um, as far as annotating my son's name, what I wanted his name to be, I wasn't even given the option to do that. My husband did all that. So if he wanted to change his name to Boo Boo, he could have did so without my knowledge. Um, just cultural wise, it's a little bit different, for me. Um, as far as like raising the children here, that's one thing that was very difficult. When I had one child, my oldest, I would have live-in nannies. And these live-in nannies are from different parts of the world, of course. Most of the time, from the Philippines, different countries in Africa, India. And what I was experiencing, I'm working 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week. And these people that I obviously didn't know, just met being here, they would stay in my house and they'd watch my child. Um, long story short, the care wasn't always, the greatest. So I ended up going through about 8 different nannies, prior to me even having my second child. So to the point where I almost wanted to quit my job. So I came up with an idea. Really, it was for me, but also to help others, something that I would feel comfortable with, and, a place where my kids could go. So I started the Learning Center, um, and I started utilizing Africans that I've met here. And a lot of the African women here, they're brought to Kuwait under false pretenses, to say the least. They may be told that they're coming to do some, business related type of job or function here in Kuwait. But then when they get here, their passports are taken away. Oh, and they're told that they're going to become a kadama. You know what a kadama is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like a
Yeah.
literal sense, or the literal term of kadama in Arabic actually means slave. So what these women are, they're house workers. So I don't know exactly when it started or how I got involved. It all just really happened so fast. But I started linking people, Americans, with some of these women that fell in this status. And I ended up creating a spreadsheet with maybe 40, 50 women. Because once people find out that you're there to help, then they start spreading the word, right? So I got this spreadsheet. I got different Americans that are here, you know, needing babysitters or needing live-in nannies or whatever. So I start matching people up. And then it got to the point where I'm like, how can I better help these people? And I pretty much took from that spreadsheet, started doing interviews. I looked for a bigger villa. That's what we call the homes here. I looked for a bigger villa, and I started off with about 6 of them. And basically started, teaching them different things, seeing what they already knew. Some were teachers. I've got one that's actually a psychology major. She's still here today. She helped me get set up a little bit for this. Um, but I was able to take some of these women and create a school. And basically, with the school, a parent can look in on their phone 24/7, like the name, and see the child in the environment. We utilize a program called Class Dojo, so you can see pictures and things of that nature. And that's pretty much how it started. It's a lot.
So the experiences for your children, um, what how are they vocal about this experience? You know, um, not
Like,
really
how do they
being
feel about it?
stateside like that. Like, yeah, yeah. How do they feel about it?
My oldest one. I mean, my kids, of course, they're not Kuwaitis. Even though my son was born in Kuwait, he's still an American, right? But they think they are because they've been here so long.
Okay.
Like, to be honest, it's funny to me because, like I said, I never thought about any of this when I was a kid, you know? So, like, to hear my oldest daughter say, to her friends, let's go to Paris next. Like, my daughter actually just went to Paris with one of her friends. And she's 8, and it's nothing. This is what we do,
That's
you
what
know?
I'm talking about, right? Right.
Um, I remember the first time I realized I really need to take them where we go because we would always go to Dubai because Dubai is like right next door, and it's like a hop. It's a cheap ticket. You can go to Dubai from Kuwait for $181 on an Emirates flight. So when me and my husband started venturing out and going different places more, the first time we went to Egypt, when we came back, because I left my kids here, because at 24/7, we also allow overnight stays, right? If a
Mm,
parent needs to go out on an emergency, a visa run or something like that, or just needs a break, the kid can, stay in the facility. So when we came back from Egypt, my oldest was like, why we can't go see the pyramids? I want to go to Egypt too. So, I was like, you know what? She right. So then we started going places. I took them to Sri Lanka, which was an
mm,
awesome experience because instead of staying like in a five-star hotel or staying in a nice, hotel, what we did is we stayed with one of the local ladies that I met here that was actually a maid. So it was
mm.
an awesome experience because we stayed in her house and we did what they did. And living this type of lifestyle that we have, it's almost impossible not to create a, I won't say almost impossible, but my kids are on, they're a little bit more bougie. I don't know a better way to say it.
Uh,
So, like growing up, if I drop something on the floor, that's a 5-second rule. I'm eating it, not these kids.
right.
Right. So, certain things that as an adult you're able to, discern and be more respectful on, like say flies around the food or whatnot. You'll shoo them away. You won't say anything. Not these kids. Oh, mommy, it's flies and things like that. So it was actually the family was good. It was a very good learning experience. The shower that we had to utilize, it was outside, no windows, things like that. So experiences like that for my kids, I like it because they're getting both ends of the spectrum,
Mm,
so to speak. So they're able to see, this is what we could have with hard work, and some people, based off of where they're from, seem to be less fortunate, but they're still doing well and they still, make a way for themselves. Just things like that. Lots of ways to create life lessons for the kids by traveling.
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You see, we deal with a lot of trauma. You see what I'm saying? Epigenetically, and passed on from generation to generation. You're creating a new normal of expectation, of knowing value, of knowing self worth.
Mhm.
You know, quality of life, things like that. You see your family dynamic, and in that process, from your family, you were able to help so many families at the same time. So, I think that's very, very dynamic. So now I have some entrepreneur questions for you over here. What are some of your experiences and your biggest takeaways, aka lessons learned as an entrepreneur, as a business owner? So you share some contract highs and woes. You understand what I'm saying? So let's
Yeah.
talk about you know uh,
On the
the fitness.
entrepreneurship side, um, I would say the biggest lesson for me, I like to help people, right? I
Mm,
really do. My heart, my heart is always seeking, or I'm always seeking to help the underdog, so to speak. And the biggest thing that I've learned is sometimes people will take advantage of that and
mm,
take advantage of your kindness and your willingness to help, and they'll go overboard with it. Um, and sometimes I'll even see it, but I will still allow it. Just to sometimes to see how far people will go. To be honest with you, and you know how they use the old people say, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
right.
That happens quite often. So for me, is one of the biggest takeaways is business is business, right? Meaning, don't let your personal feelings get involved with, your ultimate goal for your business. Also, like I started a salon, like I said, out here. I started a salon in an Arab environment, yet I wanted to only appeal to Black Americans,
Mm,
which was not very smart, right? Because I mean, they're not the majority. And then one thing that I learned from the experience, a lot of Black Americans don't like to support each other. And I didn't I
mm,
didn't experience that. Um, so a lot of woes came with that, of course, and changes to be made. But I will say, there are a lot, Black Americans or Black people that do still support each other, but the number is far lesser than those that won't support you just because. Um, but yeah, do your proper, analysis, or your proper analysis on the geographical location, the the demand,
right.
just to have an idea. Yeah, I want to have a salon or whatnot. That wasn't the smartest thing to do. So for me, I don't do hair. For one, never been able to do hair, and my passion is not to do hair, right? But I just seen a need, because being here in this environment, I went to a salon for, say, 5 years, and the customer service was below average. I'd go walk in there, and sometimes they wouldn't even speak to me, even after being there
Mm,
2, 3 years. I'd come in,
wow.
and it wasn't a comfortable experience. As a woman, when you go in the salon, you want to relax, you want to kind of feel at home. So when you walk into Porsha's Lady Salon in Kuwait, it's got like a royalty type of feel. It's purple, it's yellow. We've got some queen chairs in there. And one thing that we do is, when people walk in the door, I don't care who they are, welcome to Portia's Lady Salon. You know, just small things like that. Customer service, make people feel good. You know, the ladies in there, they try to form relationships with the customers, things of that nature, because customer service and having, that dialogue with people, it goes a long way, especially when you're spending your money. So I think that's one thing that I did that sets us apart. Um, what I'm learning is common courtesies aren't so common nowadays, and yeah, I'm trying to bring that back into modern day occurrences, especially here in Kuwait. Everybody deserves to, you know, get the greeting of the day or whatnot.
Right, 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 right.
I'm so
Your auntie is
devastated.
watching.
Is she? Oh my goodness. She probably like, what's she talking about?
Auntie is in the building. You understand what I'm saying? Auntie is coming up next, so
Okay, I
you,
like that.
you know. So auntie is coming up next. You understand what I'm saying? So she ain't got no choice. She ain't got no choice
Hmm.
now. Here we go. And let's see that who's that watching right there?
No competition. I'm the grand. I share some blood.
Mm-mm.
Joyce.
Let you see that there.
That's cool.
There we go. Got the family up in here.
I
Got
see
up
that.
in here. You understand?
Hey. No. I like what
Oh
you're
man,
doing though. I know you're interviewing me, but this is pretty awesome. I actually like when I see your name pop up. I like what you're doing. The other day, I asked you, I'm like, do you ever sleep? Like,
I stay woke. You know what I'm saying? I stay
yeah.
hashtag. Gotta be true to the hashtag. You sleep with it, be like, oh no, brother, you're not woke, brother. You're not woke.
hmm
With an extra K in it, woke. You gotta put it up in
Yeah.
there like that. So yeah, I encourage our people to have a creative outlet of self-expression. You know, where you can be your authentic self. You can, come forth with your authentic message, and you can have people share their experiences along the way. So
hmm
what you're doing, you have a voice. You know, that could be another need. You see that needs to be met. You see what I'm saying? Not so much for a financial gain initially, but just
Right.
to give people an opportunity to express themselves. You know, oftentimes I'm interviewing people. They're like, "You can cut me off whenever you want to." I'm like, "Huh?" You understand what I'm saying? Like, so we have grown accustomed to that kind of lack of communication that we call
Right.
communication. So you just jump in, talk over. Hey, no, no, like this is my home. I don't invite you into my home if I don't think that you belong there. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know,
hmm
with these conversations and these interactions, you get the best out of people. And then people realize, oh, and then they say stuff like, "Oh, I'm just rambling." You're communicating and you're being
Yeah,
heard.
exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And people value your conversation, they value your story, they value your journey. You see, because some of us we could just live vicariously, like, oh, it's black people that's out here that's traveling around the world. Like, oh, 8-year-old just say, oh, I'm gonna go to France. Let's go to France. Why can't I see the pyramids? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
With so many things happening with our youth, and specific. You see what I'm saying? This
Yeah,
is a breath of fresh air to be able to see. Okay, this is possible. So now you just got to put yourself in a position to you know venture out and see what's going on beyond your comfort zone. So yeah, that's
you got
beautiful.
to. It's important to be, to travel. People, for the longest, when coming up, I would hear that Africans don't like African Americans. Right? Have you ever heard that? Africans don't like African Americans. Like, they don't want you in
Only on
Africa.
only on the internet. You know,
Only
on
on
the
the
internet.
internet. But that's crazy. It's crazy. And then the opposite side of that is they hear that we don't like them, right? So it's like, I don't know who's brainwashing us to think this way. Um, One interesting thing, you didn't ask me a question, but I didn't got comfortable in your house, so I'm talking now.
Hey, let it go.
But one
Oh,
interesting thing, there's certain things that happen in my household that I don't know. I don't know if it's the same for you, but if somebody sweeps your foot, what do you do?
spit on the broom.
You spit on the broom. So
Hmm.
one of the first when I experienced that we are not so different. I was in my salon and one of the ladies swept my foot and she was just continuing. And I was like, give me that broom. And I spit on it and then the whole salon stopped. They like, you do that too, ma'am? And I'm like, yeah, y'all do that too. And then it was just like, man, what you do? Do y'all ever put y'all purse on the floor? No, we don't put our purse on the floor. Why? Because we'll stay broke. I'm like, man. So we're not, too different. Just the cultures are so similar. We have so much to learn from each other. That's one of the greatest things I like about being in Kuwait. Even though I'm in Kuwait, I deal a lot with the African community. And I'm drawn to dealing with the African community for the reasons that I stated earlier. A lot of them are here under false pretenses. Um, a lot of people would be surprised to know that there's still modern day slavery going on here. Some of the stories that I could tell y'all about some of the women that I've encountered here would probably bring you to tears. Just a lot of craziness going on. So I've positioned myself to be a help aid to these ladies. Some people, they see me as like a madame. I don't feel like I'm a madame or anything like that, but I think what I do is very helpful in the community, and I'm not looking for kudos or anything like that, but I think that more people should, get outside of their comfort zone and be willing to, look and see what's really going on in their environments, so they're able to also be, a helping hand to some of these people that are in need. We've got people over here that don't even have control of their own passports. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you traveled somewhere and when you got there, they're like, give me that passport, and then lock you in the house and you can't get out and do what you want to when you want to do it? I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that. And then feeling like you know, you have to endure this treatment because you want to be able to, feed your family. It's just, I don't know. I know I went off, the wrong direction, but I think that's very important for people to know. When you do travel to these different places, there is a lot, that you can learn that's positive, but there's also some negatives. I've been to places where, people aren't eating like they need to. You see me, I'm a pretty, you know, thick woman. So when I go to places or whatnot, they'll say, the first time somebody called me fat, Mom, you looking fat today. I'm kind of offended because it's not PHAT, but they saying fat like, and it's a compliment. It's a compliment because it to them I'm well off because I'm eating well, right? But there's some places that I've been to where people aren't eating well. Um, they're living with the bare minimums and they're happy and they're making it work. And it's for me, it's a reminder of how wasteful, that we can be as Americans because, we throwing away food or buying an excess, living in excess, and to see what people can live off of, it's amazing to me. Sorry about that.
All good. I mean, that's the that is the resourcefulness. I mean, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. Creative. Many of us grew up just like that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
What was the sister name from Good Times? You know, Florida Evans told the family. She said, you survived the meat crisis and the shortage. It ain't no, it was no meat crisis or no
Ex-
shortage. You see what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, and
Exactly.
that was a natural line that came from a natural place. So we
Yeah,
some of the most resourceful and creative people on the planet. You know.
we are.
So yeah, so
Most
let's
definitely.
see a little bit if you could share with us about your spiritual journey, just a little bit.
I see you smiling. Spiritual journey.
Just a little
Well,
bit, If whatever you want to share, and if you don't want to share nothing, you be like, I don't want to share nothing, okay,
no,
and then I
it's no
laugh it off
problem.
and we go on.
Spiritual journey. I grew up a Pentecostal, a Christian. Went to church
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Knocked on doors on Saturday and twice on Sunday. um, when you grow up in that way, that's my foundation, right? So even in times of despair or you know uncertainties, I'm always going to go back to that because that's what I was originally taught. But as I travel, I realize and I see, a little bit more. I see that we've got, Muslims, Buddhists. Of course, I knew of these religions before, but I wasn't inclined to look into them. So, as I've traveled, like I said, I started to research more, and I found that a lot of the stories are alike. A lot of them tie into each other. Um, and I started to veer off from Christianity and I started practicing Buddhism for a while. And within all the religions, it resonates with me the most. And I wouldn't even say Buddhism is really a religion, it's more of a way of life and teachings. So when people ask, like, what religion am I? Basically, I don't have a religion. I don't. I consider myself more of a spiritual being, and I'm more open to the fact that there I don't believe that there's just one that's right and one that's wrong, if that makes sense to you. Um, I believe in good morals, humility, and good old treating people the way you want to be treated. And I think that as long as you're, living your life in a positive manner and doing your very best, it really doesn't matter what religion that you are. Am I going in the right direction here?
It's your
I don't want
journey.
to get Yeah, I
It's
don't
your.
want to get, too off of what you're asking me. I
It's
don't discredit any religion or anything like that, but um, I find oneness within. Um, yeah, I find oneness within, and I'm able to find different different aspects of different religions that resonates with me. Meaning, I can take something from Islam, I can take something from Buddhism, I can take something from Christianity, and put it all together. If it works for me, it works. But there's no set way, right or wrong. God to me is basically the universe, right? The source, whatever one may think the source is. Like I said, I did grow up as a Christian. Um, and the reason I'm kind of going in circles, I'm lost for words because, like I said, when you have that foundation, you never really you leave from it, but you always come back to it. Especially in times that things aren't going well or whatnot. I was always taught, to call on the name of Jesus, and that just happens, automatically for me in times, especially of distress. And I've had personal relationships or personal occurrences where it seemed as though that actually helped me through certain situations. So, in a sense, I don't deny that as well. So, like Facebook, the statuses is complicated for me. It's complicated.
Well, you stated it very simplistically. You see what I'm saying? Your largest takeaways were these principles. These are
Yeah,
universal principles that can be
that's
found
it.
everywhere.
Hmm.
And it's ever evolving in your study, your research,
Hmm.
and your life experience because life is the best teacher. Like our elders would tell us. You see what I'm saying? And long as you are grounded foundationally, you're good to go. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I do want to say one thing that I don't mind sharing. I do believe that, you know, there's other energy amongst us that, most people aren't aware of, or they see, or, not taken into consideration. I've had experiences that won't allow me to say or think otherwise. I also I also believe in, there's spiritual warfares and, you know, generational type of situations. Some may call them curses, things of that nature.
I understand. I mean that spiritual journey for me, began at birth and it's still evolving. You see what I'm saying? I've been a lot of places with a lot of people. You know, your auntie met me a certain kind of way. You see what I'm saying? And
Really?
I'm still trucking on the path. You know, uh, it's just a lot of doors, a lot of different doors and things like that have opened up along the way. You know, we go back like 17 years. You know what I'm saying? So,
Really?
um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Back to
I
that
didn't know
great
that.
place. Fort Hood. Back to that place.
Mm.
Long time
You see
ago.
my face?
Long time ago. Yeah. You said brag. That was your brother. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was at Fort Bragg.
Yeah. That wasn't no better.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't no better. You know.
Uh-oh.
So I think rolling up your time for this part. We gotta have a part two now since you done came over here and got comfortable. You see what I'm saying? So final thoughts. You know that you want to share, shout outs, acknowledgments. Everything like that.
Final thoughts. Um, I know I might have got off topic with you at some point, but I really enjoyed doing this. I told you in the beginning that I'm nervous with public speaking. A lot of people, they see me and I do certain things, and people don't realize that, I have them human fears also, and I have to talk to myself within. But I appreciate the platform and you allowing me to come on here and speak my truth. Um, the takeaway for others is, like my grandmother used to say, anything you put your mind to, you can do it. You know, basically, don't sell yourself short. Don't get comfortable with being average. You know, and when you stop being comfortable and you stop being average, don't be surprised when people change. Because people will change. You acting different. You're not doing the same things that you used to do. And if you're not grounded, those, simple things might discourage you. And I've been there, but I've surpassed those. Um, but don't get discouraged. If you're not growing, you're dying, basically. Everything is meant to progress. So don't get comfortable with staying in whatever state that you're in. Don't listen to people's opinion of, you know, they don't they don't like black people here, or they don't they don't like Americans in London, or things of that nature. Don't take somebody else's experiences and create them as your own, because a lot of times that's what people do. They're sitting there telling you somebody else's experience instead of creating their own. So my experience may not be the same as your experience. You might come to Kuwait and hate it. You might come to Kuwait and not see some of the same things that I've seen, but you won't know unless you try it, right? Don't be fearful of looking to reach your goals, and know that if you are taking a leap of faith and you fail, always look for the lesson in the failure. Like I said, I've um I've done a lot of wasteful things with money, as I know a lot of people have, but there comes a time and place where you've got to stop being insane doing the same things and learn from your mistakes. So that's the best advice that I could give at this point. Just keep trying, and I see a lot of negativity, in the states. I've been gone from the states for a long time, and it actually scares me to bring my kids back to the states, which is weird because you guys see things on the news and stuff, and everybody's hitting me up like, "Are you okay over there?" Yeah, I'm okay. Are y'all okay over there? Just, and it's not coming from a judgmental place, but in order to create change, it starts with self. you know Start looking out for one another. It's Black History Month, and you know my chapter, we had a Black History night last night, and we had a good turnout. We did some speaking on different individuals that paved the way for us, and it just was a reminder to me, what our people had to go through to allow us the freedoms to ride buses and things of that nature. And look at me now. I didn't bypass the bus. I'm on planes. I'm traveling, you know? So use your God-given rights, and do what it is that, moves you. If it don't move you to travel, then stay where you at, but if you have dreams and aspirations of doing and being more, do it. You want to stop doing something? Stop it. Everybody has the choice to decide. So basically, that's it. That's it.
Now I know you got to shout some folks out. Now you understand what I'm saying. You ain't
Shout
been,
outs.
here to shout out. You got to shout some folks out.
Hey,
Family is
I
out
don't
here
want to
listening.
leave nobody out. Um, my first shout out would be my grandmother. I call her G Thing. Uh, I love her. I miss her so much. That's one of the hardest parts of being over here, really, is the people that mean the most to me. They're aging, and I'm missing out on certain things, but I still keep in contact, and I gotta live my life too. But G Thing, I love you. I miss you. Um, I'm gonna get these grandkids, great grandkids there to see you. My mother, I miss her. I love her. Um, my aunt Tamara, is she still watching?
Yes, yes,
She is.
yes,
What
yes.
up? Or she call me Big Head. My aunt Tamara, that's like my best friend, to be honest with you. She is my best friend, my soul sister. I love you too. um, just my family as a whole. I do want to make it back to the States within the next 2 years. That's my goal, to be honest with you. But things may change because Africa's looking pretty good to me also. But anyway, next shout out would be to my husband. Um, Of course, he's my biggest support, my biggest fan, because I'm always coming up with something. You know, I always have these ideas, and no matter what the idea is, if I want to bring in a stray cat, he's like, "All right, where we gonna put the cat?" You know, whatever I want to do, he always supports me. So shout out to him. Shout outs to the 24/7 community, those who support my child care and learning center, and especially those who work within my child care and learning center and Portia's Lady Salon. And shout outs to everybody out there that's doing their thing and just trying to make it and trying to be a positive force in this world. That's it. Oh, one more thing. My homegirl, I'm wearing her shirt. She makes these shirts and she's about beautiful women of empowerment. Be we. She's actually in the hospital right now, and I'm supposed to go see her. But since I'm on here, I want to give her a shout out, and I'll go see her afterwards.
Right?
But yeah,
Got to bring her on next time. You see what I'm saying? So we could talk this
yes, her
business.
name
Say,
is
hey,
Miss Tammy, Sister Tammy.
all right.
Oh, and shout out to Desert Light, Chapter 171.
Mm-mm. Desert light out there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? District 11 or 12?
No, sir, it's District 17.
17. Oh, they done changed everything. It's been a long time. Been a long
Mm-hmm.
time. Long
Yes,
time.
sir.
Since I seen the labyrinth over there. You know what I'm saying? Since I seen the labyrinth
Yes,
over
sir.
in that place. I'm glad y'all still got it going on. You know.
Hey, I think Jay Lee, that's my grandmother. She watching too, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Um,
They in there. Family in there. I told you family was watching that, so you better,
yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, we out of here. Gotta leave room for part two and three and four. Did I say that out
Oh,
loud? My
okay.
bad.
I'm gonna hit you with that inshallah.
Inshallah. That's it. That is the greatest word in the world. Anyone want something done. You
Ain't it?
understand what I'm
And yeah, it's so
Ooh.
open. It ain't a yes, it ain't a no. God's will.
Right, right. Well, we out of here, family.
Peace and love,
Peace
everyone.